Hello, I'm Bob Miller, Vice President of Consumer Merchandising. Radio Shack's expertise in marketing and selling scanners has earned us the #2 spot in the market. High technology abounds in our programmable scanners. Microprocessor-controlled PLL circuits replace up to 23,000 crystals. This is a prime example of how Radio Shack brings technology from the laboratory into the home. And now I'd like to introduce Bob Katz, your scanner buyer, who will give you some new sales tips and techniques.
Hi, I'm Bob Katz and I buy the 20 category, which is scanners. Radio Shack sells scanners of outstanding quality, construction, and circuitry. We have 2 basic types and 3 basic styles. The first basic type is crystal controlled, and the second type is programmable. The crystal controlled require a crystal for every frequency you wish to listen to, and they are ideal for someone who wants to listen to a limited number of frequencies. The programmable, on the other hand, require no crystals, however, are capable of receiving 23,684 frequencies. If you had to buy crystals to cover every one of those frequencies, your total bill would be $117,946.32. That makes a programmable scanner, even at $400, an outstanding value in comparison to the lower cost to start with crystal-controlled scanner and buying crystals to cover every frequency. As I said, we had 2 basic types. We also have 3 basic styles. We have the home or AC operated unit, we have the mobile or DC operated unit, and the portable type, which operates off of batteries. And of course there are combinations of these. You can have a mobile unit that is also capable of operating off of AC, so it can be used at home. And of course the portables are capable of being operated either off of an AC power supply or the DC source in your vehicle, so they can be considered multi-typed also. The first group of scanners we're going to talk about are our portables. We have 3 crystal controlled and 1 programmable. The crystal controlled units basically all have the same features: individual channel lockout switches, a volume and squelch control, a scan and manual control, and they come with both a rubber ducky antenna, which can be used for short range, and of course the longer telescopic type antenna, which increases your range dramatically. The basic difference then in the crystal controls would be the number of bands they cover and what bands they are. We have 2 units with 4 channels that cover 2 bands. First one covers both VHF high band and aircraft, and the second one covers VHF and UHF high-low bands, but does not cover the aircraft. Our third crystal controlled portable covers all the normal bands and has the additional feature of having, instead of 4, 8 channels. Again, crystals are required for each channel. We also have a programmable scanner, which is a breakthrough in technology. It's a very exciting product. So exciting, in fact, that it's won Radio Shack's Technological Advanced Series Award. It has 16 channels of memory storage. It covers the 23,684 frequencies we discussed. It has a space-age LCD display, LCD meaning liquid crystal. It has a full search function, allowing you to find new and secret frequencies. It covers the bands of 30 through 54, which is low band, and 6-meter ham, 108 to 136, which is your aircraft band, 138 through 174, which covers your 2-meter ham band, as well as government and police and fire in the VHF high band. And it covers 380 through 512 megahertz, which gets down into government frequencies, ham frequencies, and most current police and fire usage in cities today. It has a frequency tracking circuit that keeps the front end always at maximum sensitivity, so that the signal you receive is always at its peak of performance. It has a delay circuit which allows the unit to wait 2 seconds after a signal stops and therefore allow the return message to be heard by the user. If you do not use delay, the unit will start scanning immediately after the signal stops. It has two speeds for both scanning and searching. It has a lockout feature which allows you to take a channel electronically out of the circuit. The reason for this is, let's suppose that we took channel 3 and programmed in weather, 162.55 here in Fort Worth. If we did that, weather is a continuous transmission, and the scanner would no longer, even in the scan mode, continue to scan. It would lock on to that frequency. So if we wish to hear weather, we could bring the unit out of the lockout mode to hear weather, and when we were done and wanted to go back to our normal scanning routine, we would put the lockout back on channel 3 and go back to scanning. It has a priority function, and what this means is we are allowed to take channel 1 and make that our priority channel. What do I mean by priority? Let's say you were a volunteer fireman. You would program in the frequency for your station on channel 1. You would then have other frequencies programmed into the scanner. As the scanner would be going through its normal scan, approximately every 2 seconds, it would go back and check channel 1 for approximately 1/2 second to see if there was a signal there. And if there was, it would then lock on that signal so that you would hear what's going on your most needed channel. When it does this, of course, when it checks that channel there for roughly 1/2 second, it does create a slight chopping in the signal that you were originally listening to. This is normal. It has a keyboard lock. Once enabled, you can no longer change anything on the scanner. So if you pick it up and if you touch it, or if you were wearing it and you reach down for it, you would no longer cause the unit to change frequency, change channel, change speed. We do have another set of controls on the top which give you scan or manual movement or speed change. These are not affected by the lockout. In manual operation, we can take the unit and move it to any given channel we so desire and leave it there to listen to just one frequency if we're not interested in scanning at the present time. The unit utilizes a flexible antenna with a premium BNC type connector. It operates from regular batteries or rechargeable batteries. And don't forget, we also have both an AC and a DC adapter for this product. As you heard, and will probably continue to hear throughout the discussion today, the scanner here, the Pro 2020, is picking up signals, basically police calls that I programmed it for here in Fort Worth. The reason for that is that is what you should do in your store. If you'll note, every one of the scanners is either on and scanning, or in the case of the 2020, which is the only one I've programmed frequencies into, it's stopping and giving you information. The reason for doing this is the same reason that you turn a hi-fi system on in your store. It's to create excitement. You want your customer to walk over and listen to what's going on with the scanner, to take an interest in it. And when he hears the police calls or fire calls, or if she hears aircraft, that may be the deciding factor in purchasing a scanner. So please leave your scanners on, leave one at least operating. It doesn't have to be loud enough to overpower the store, but it should be loud enough that if somebody comes in the area of your display, that you can hear the signal. Another interesting thing to do with scanners is put a map of your local area up somewhere in the area of the scanners, because it just kind of adds another little excitement and interest. And occasionally you might even put up an article from your local newspaper that had something to do with a very, very recent crime or a weather story that you could have picked up on the scanner. We have one mobile unit and one base unit. These are both crystal controlled. The base unit has 8 channels, sells for $119.95. It covers the 30 to 50 megahertz VHF low band, the 144 to 174 VHF high band, which gives you both 2 meters and government services, such as police and fire, and the 450 to 512 megahertz UHF band, which covers, again, ham plus your local governmental services. The mobile unit is very similar. It has 2 additional channels. It also covers the aircraft band, 108 to 136, and it has an AC power supply as well as a DC power supply, so it could be used in your vehicle and your home, or could be used in your vehicle and then taken out when you get home and used in the home. It sells for $159.95. We're going to cut the volume down on this a little bit so we don't interfere with our discussion here. We have 3 programmable scanners in addition to the handheld one. We have a base station unit. We have a base and 2 base mobile units. And the top of the line model is our Pro 2003. And if you hang on just a second here, I'm going to take some of these other items out of the way, which will give us room to discuss the programmable models in a little more detail. Fortunately, you won't have to do this with your customer because you just walk up to the display. Okay, this is our Pro 2003 top-of-the-line model, $349.95, 60-channel scanner, 50 public service channels, and 10 FM channels, which allow you to hear broadcast in the standard FM band, plus police, fire, ham, and other frequencies. And the unit is capable of being set in a mode so that you can hear both the FM and your priority channel so that you don't miss those important calls. It has a fluorescent display, which is digital in nature, easy to read, large and bright. It has zeromatic tuning, and this tuning is an internal circuit which makes sure that the unit always stops at center frequency, not 5 kilohertz either below or above the station, which is true of some of our competitive products. The unit also has 2 search and scan speeds, controlled here, and as you note, as we change, we have an audible feedback response to let you know that your entry was accepted by the scanner. It has a search function, as do all of our programmable scanners. And this search function allows you to scan either up or down through any set limit of frequencies that the unit is capable of receiving to search for those frequencies which are either secret or new or for some reason or another unpublished. It also has a built-in telescopic antenna, and on the back of the unit we have, as you'll note, a jack for an external antenna, giving the unit complete and total versatility. It also has electronic lockout on the keyboard, which again allows you to keep those frequencies which you do not wish to hear locked out and therefore remain only listening to those of important nature to you. The product has 5 bands of frequencies, 0 through 10, 10 through 11 through 20, 21 through 30, 31 through 40, and 41 through 50. This allows you to program in various frequencies. You might program in fire, police, ham band, other associated services, and so on. You can, with these bands, bring in as many of the frequencies you wish to hear at a time as you would like, or as few, never to be less than 10, and you can bring in all 50. You can bring them in any order. You could bring in the 10 band, the 30 band, and the 50 band, the 20 and the 40 band, or in any combination. We have also a headphone jack, an external speaker jack on the back, and a tape output jack for a tape recorder. Remember, a cassette recorder with this product is an ideal add-on. Some people do wish to keep a log of the frequencies, not the frequencies, but that which they hear on the various frequencies. We have a wood grain top panel, which is basically a styling. top firing speaker, which gives you higher quality, backup battery so that the product will not lose memory in case of a power failure, and as I said, can be programmed in groups of 10. Next product we'd like to talk about here is the Pro 2020. This is our 20-channel version, again, with the fluorescent display, large and easy to read. You'll notice this one has a mobile mounting bracket, which allows you to use it both base and mobile. This unit, the Pro 2003, of course, is capable of AC and DC operation. However, this unit was basically designed in a more mobile type style, still, of course, being extremely attractive for home use. You notice we do not use wood grain on it. And now let's look at programming the scanner. First of all, we're going to go into manual and stop our scanner. We're going to go to a channel that we have not yet programmed. Let's try channel 4. Yeah, we have something in there, so let's go to channel 5. That's empty. Go into the program mode. And let's put a frequency in now and see what happens. This is the way you should demonstrate the scanner to your customer. So we're going to put the weather frequency in. 162.55. And again, you notice audible feedback. Enter. We're on frequency. And there's weather. Should we decide we don't want to hear weather in order to hear other frequencies, we'll lock it out, go to scan, and as we come back around through, channel 5 is not picked up, which is where we put it. If we wanted to hear weather again, we can go manual, 5, manual, and listen to the weather without removing the lockout. So the station is not gone, just isn't there right now. Okay. Let's talk about search. As I said, with search, we can pick frequencies to go through and see what's there, which either is not listed, something new, or something different. So program, limit, put in the lower limit. This one will set for 460, which is the lower limit. And we'll hit limit again and put in the upper limit of 461. And now we're scanning through. Now there's a frequency. If we wanted to find out what it was or why it is, we can put it in the monitor mode and stay on that frequency until we've determined what it is. In this case, it happens to be police. If I didn't know that was a police frequency or it was one that I didn't have, I could write that down and then program it at a later time into another channel. We can go back to scanning, up or down, and of course, as I said, we can change speed. That's fast speed and the slow speed. The monitor function, as you noted, allows you to stop on any given frequency and listen to it for a period of time, very similar to manual. Okay, at this point, we want to talk a little bit about Pro 2009. It's our lowest price scanner, has 8 channels, fluorescent display, has the basic features that we've noticed here on the Pro 2020. It does not have the same type of search function. We have a search in this unit which allows you to program in one end of a band and it searches up from there. It does not allow you to set both ends of the search. However, it still does give a search feature. In all respects, it's very much like its more expensive counterparts, with the exception that it has no DC. It does not have individual bands. It does not pick up FM. And it does not have priority. It does have delay, lockout, scan, manual, programming, and so on. An excellent unit at the price, one of our hottest selling units today. And now I'm going to clear the table and talk to you a little bit about accessories. When we're talking about accessories, we're talking about very profitable add-ons. And they're very simple. We have 20-210 headphone at $9.95, lightweight headphones with a full 1/4-inch plug. In addition to the headphone, you can always sell the customer, as I said before, a cassette tape recorder to record from. We have the indoor back of the set antenna. While your unit comes with a telescopic antenna, this antenna allows you to adjust its length for best possible frequency reception. In many cases, low band especially needs a longer antenna, so this becomes an ideal item to sell the customer as well. For mobile use, we have two different types, both a gutter mount and a magnetic mount, which cover all of the bands and come with a proper plug for the mobile type scanners. However, you can also use these antennas with our portable scanners in a vehicle. In order to do that, you need an adapter. The adapter for the crystal-controlled handheld scanners is a 20-020. The adapter for the programmable handheld requires that you put together two different devices. One is a BNC, solderless BNC connector in our line, which goes along with the Motorola type connector that has a pigtail on it. You'll have to put that together or show your customer how to put it together. In addition to these accessories, we also have base station antennas. They're a little bit large to be showing you here. I'm sure you're quite familiar with them. They're in your catalog and available in the store. Remember, when putting a base station antenna up, you're guaranteeing the customer much more range, more possible signal pickup. They go up with the same mounting hardware and accessories that you put a TV antenna up with, the 15 series. Remember when doing this that you can use the 15 series chart that you have. Just in place of the antenna and cable, put in the monitor antenna, and don't forget the monitor antenna uses the 278 series cable for best performance. In addition to that, in the 15 series this year, we have a bullet amplifier. And this amplifier, while it's basically designed for TV, does also cover the same frequencies as does our scanners, and therefore can be used for additional range and for fringe area reception. That basically covers our scanner line.
Hello, I'm Bob Miller, Vice President of Consumer Merchandising. Radio Shack has been selling CB radios since 1958, and we've earned our #1 industry position by sticking to the basics, offering consumers good quality products at fair prices. Now I'd like to introduce Bob Katz, your CB buyer, who will give you some new sales tips and techniques.
Hi, I'm Bob Katz, and we're going to talk about the 21 category CB sets today. Radio Shack is the largest retailer and manufacturer of CB sets and antennas in the United States. Our CB line consists of 8 models, 6 of which are mobile, a base station, and an emergency unit. Plus, we also have a complete line of 7 walkie-talkies, in addition to which we also have a pair of voice-operated 49 megahertz FM walkie-talkies. Our line of mobile sets basically have the same performance characteristics, with the exception of adjacent channel rejection, which rates the set selectivity, and the higher the number, the better the set is. Other differences are size and features. 4 of our mobiles are unique. The TRC 415 is extremely small in size. The one-hander has all the controls in the microphone, and the main unit can be mounted in a trunk, under the seat, or under the dash, and there is available through the mail center a 16-foot cord for extending the distance between the mic and the main unit. We also have the TRC 451, which is an AM SSB mobile, and this allows you to have 80 additional sideband channels not available on our other products. And of course, the versatile 211506 emergency CB unit. This is a full power set with 40 channel coverage in a portable styled unit with easy 1, 2, 3 setup. You simply put the antenna on the roof, plug the power cable into the unit, turn the set on, and start operating. If you wish to use this antenna, this set in mobile use, you cannot use this antenna which comes with the product. You should use a 21940 magnetic mount antenna or other suitable mobile antenna for moving vehicular operation. And don't forget, if you sell the customer an additional antenna for this product, you also must sell them the 208 adapter to adapt our regular CB antennas for use with the emergency set. The different features of each set, as I said, is what basically determines the difference in price, since performance is basically the same. All of our units have both a squelch and volume control, a channel selector, and an LED channel display. As we said earlier, the 211509 is extremely compact in size and has an LED signal and power meter. Our next product, the TRC 413, in addition to the features as shown on our smallest unit, has a modulation indicator, an automatic noise limiter switch, which allows you to bring the circuit in and out. In the 211509, the previous set, that is an automatic circuit built in. You cannot defeat it. In addition to that, we have the ability to use the CB set as a public address system simply by flipping a switch and adding a speaker to the product. Our next model, the TRC 414, slightly higher in style. In addition to the features on the previous set, we also have given you a priority switch which allows you to set, say, channel 22 on the display and instantly go to either channel 9, back to 22, or to channel 19 for either emergency or highway information use. The next model on our line, the TRC 473, basically has the same features as this unit. We have an analog meter, channel 9 priority switch so that you can simply switch from the channel you're listening to into channel 9, an indicator to let you know you're on channel 9, a modulation indicator to let you know your level of modulation, and an antenna warning indicator so that if the antenna shorts or opens, that light comes on warning you that you should then, of course, discontinue operation of the set until you fix the problem. We've basically covered the features of the one-hander. All the controls are in the mic, the LED display, the channel selector, the volume and squelch, as well as power switch. Our sideband unit embodies all of the features found in our other products, and its basic difference is that it has an additional 80 channels. These channels are single sideband. They are on the same frequency as AM, but use only half the channel width. In order to tune them in, the set has what's called a clarifier. This does nothing more than what it sounds like. It clears up the signal. Normally, if you're not on frequency properly, you'll get either a Donald Duck or a very high-pitched sound. This control allows you to bring that back to a normal voice. We also carry a full line of CB antennas, 13 mobile and 2 base CB antennas. In mobile antennas, length is the all-important factor. We have a full quarter-wave antenna, which is the longest normal mobile length, our 211094 and 21912 marine antenna. We also carry shorter antennas, some of which are base-loaded, like our 21940 and 960 magnetic mounts, 21908, 926, and 904, which are both trunk and roof mounts. We also carry center-loaded types. These would be 21906, 21909, 947, 948, and 941. Your gutter mount antenna is an example of a center-loaded type. And then we have a top-loaded type, which was your 21945, a fiberglass type. The different types of loading only allow the antenna to perform properly based on the amount of metal surface below it. And none of these antennas perform better than another because of their loading characteristics. The loading characteristics for each antenna are designed by the engineer to be the most practical for its application. As I said, a 1/4 wave inch or 108-inch 9-foot antenna gives the best performance and is the longest practical length for mobile use. Anything longer than that would be totally impractical. Cable length in CB use is not a factor determining performance, except that too long of a cable will, of course, reduce the signal length. In mobile, this is highly unlikely since cable lengths are relatively short. The cable length will not change your SWR. The only exception to this would be the 21912 Marine or the 21945 Twin Truckers, where the cable that comes with the unit is a matching transformer and not just the length of cable. It can be lengthened from the connector outward. The connector should never be cut off of the unit, and it cannot be shortened. To do this would completely destroy the antenna. Standing wave, SWR is standing wave ratio. This is the performance of how well your set and antenna are matched and how much of the signal is going to get from the set to the antenna and vice versa. This is measured with an SWR meter. Our 21525 is an example of this type of product. It is a very simple product to use. It has a calibration control on the front as well as a switch. And to use this product, you simply would attach a short length of cable, like the adapters we have in the line, between the set and the meter, and that is marked trans, which means transmitter. And this connector, which is marked ANT, would be hooked to the antenna. In order to use this, you would power up your set after you had made the connections. You would put the unit into the forward position and adjust the calibration knob with the mic keyed, okay? You would key the mic until the signal needle moves to the calibrate position. At that point, you would release the microphone, switch the meter over to the reflected power position, rekey the microphone, and then directly read on the upper scale what the amount of signal loss or SWR is. You will note that anything under 2.5 to 1 is acceptable. A 2.5 to 1, 2 to 1 is about 11% power loss, and that is not enough to be detectable or degrade your performance since it is less than a 1 watt loss. A recent Consumer Product Safety Commission, that's the CPSC ruling, required that all base station CB antennas must be insulated. Although our antennas are insulated and meet CPSC regulations, we still must warn our customers to use extreme caution when installing a base station CB antenna. Should it fall, let it go. Call the power company to remove it if it touches the power line. To remove it by themselves could be fatal. And don't forget, all of our antennas mount with the same hardware as a TV antenna. It's all in your 15 series area and extremely high on profit. As we said, we have 7 walkie-talkies in our CB line. The major differences between these walkie-talkies are only the number of channels and their output power. In the catalog, the figures we give are called input power. This has been the basic and standard way for the industry to advertise walkie-talkies over the years. However, it lacks in the sense that the true performance of the set is measured in output power, not input power, and that is the factor which the FCC regulates, output power. None must exceed 4 watts. To be as honest as possible, we, in our manuals, put both the input and output power so that the customer is fully aware of what they're purchasing. Let's go through our line of walkie-talkies. The first model, the TRC-84, is a single channel, 100 milliwatt unit, comes complete with channel 14 crystals, and uses a 9-volt battery. The next unit in our line, the TRC-85, is a 3-channel unit, comes with channel 14 crystals in channel A, and customer must purchase crystals for channel B and C from your store. Some are stocked in your store on a standard basis. Others can be ordered from the mail center. The unit also has a battery test button and an LED to indicate if the batteries are in good condition. Our next model, the TRC-86, is also a 3-channel model, also embodies the battery test. In addition, has a squelch control and a charging jack so that you can use rechargeable batteries with this walkie-talkie. And as you are well aware, rechargeable batteries are a much better value over the long haul than our standard batteries. The TRC-213, our next model, is a higher power model, 2 watts, 3 channels, has an external antenna jack and a external power jack as well as the charge jack. Our next model, the 214, is the same as the previous model, except it has 3 watts of power as well as 3 channels. Our 2 top-of-the-line walkie-talkies we call 5-watt walkie-talkies. These are high-power, deluxe professional type models. The 5-watt 6-channel model uses an analog meter to indicate signal strength and battery condition, has a squelch and volume control, a speaker jack, a jack in which to plug an external microphone, a 6-channel selector switch, a loaded antenna, side panels that are metal, and when you touch these panels, your body acts as part of the antenna ground system, giving you greater range, a high-low power switch to save battery power. In the high position, you have full power. In the low position, you have half the power, and an antenna, charge, and power jack. The top-of-the-line deluxe 40-channel unit is basically the same as the 5-channel unit, except it embodies a liquid crystal display and is synthesized and is capable of operating on any and all of the full 40 channels within the CB band. And last but not least are our our 49 megahertz FM Vox walkie-talkies. Recently, we added a 2nd channel to the line so that they are now on either channel A or channel B. The box in which the product comes is clearly marked. The reason for the 2 channels is that it gives the versatility to be used by local football teams, one team using one frequency and one the other. Ideal for construction work where one person may be talking to the crane operator while another is conversing with another portion of the operation. And of course there are many other fine uses for it, such as when you're bicycling, jogging on a jogging trail, and so on. That covers our CB line and accessories, and we'll leave you now.
Hello, I'm Bob Miller, Vice President of Consumer Merchandising. Radio Shack is the #1 retailer of security products in the nation. No one else carries the broad selection of alarm systems and UL-listed alarm accessories than the Shack does. As a matter of fact, many professional alarm installers buy their supplies from the local Radio Shack store. Now I'd like to introduce Bob Katz, your security buyer, who will give you some new sales tips and techniques.
Hi, I'm Bob Katz, and we're going to talk about the 49 category today, which is security. Radio Shack is the leading retailer in do-it-yourself home security type products. We have 2 types of security systems, motion sensing and perimeter, and of course we have combinations of these type of systems. A security system is a deterrent and a warning system. It does not keep an intruder out. That's the job of locks and bars. We're going to talk a little bit about motion sensing, which is an ideal system either for an apartment dweller or possibly for a homeowner that doesn't want to do any wiring. The 49305 is the latest thing in motion sensing technology. It uses passive infrared and it detects the intruder both by body heat and motion. It's a simple system to operate. To arm the system, you simply push the arm button. To disarm the system, you have to enter your own personal code, which you preset. This unit is also capable of being used as a perimeter system at a later time, since we have contacts on the back for perimeter and remote arming. We also have placed on this unit a set of dry contacts which will interface with the security dialer, which we'll cover later in our presentation. In addition to passive infrared, we have a similar system which has basically the same features. However, it features ultrasonic rather than passive infrared as a detecting method. The differences between these two methods are basically as follows. Passive infrared, since it only detects body heat and motion, has the ability to be aimed and therefore can be used in an area where you may have pets or children. Since in this unit we provide a shutter which shuts off the lower beams of the unit. Therefore, this unit set at about 4 or 5 feet would allow a small child or a pet to be in the room without setting off the alarm. The ultrasonic, on the other hand, is what we call fully volumetric, and it totally fills a room with a sound that you can't hear. Anything moving in that room will set off the alarm. So while the infrared is slightly higher in price, it is a far more versatile unit than the ultrasonic. And finally, in our line of motion sensing, we have the 49303. Our least expensive unit uses ultrasonic, as does its big brother, the 49304. However, it does not have perimeter circuitry, and it also does not have dialer outputs, nor does it have the ability to be armed or disarmed by the remote keyboard. At this point, I'd like to spend a little bit of time on the automatic dialer. This device uses a cassette to record your message on. It is your personal message. It also has a keyboard which allows you to enter up to 3 numbers of those people you wish to call. Please remember that before attempting to dial a police or fire department, you must call to see if this is legally acceptable in your community. Once you've programmed in the 3 numbers and use the built-in microphone to make your own message, this unit will dial each number that you have called and that you have programmed in to be called. It will give the message 5 times and go on to the next number you have programmed in, and finally the 3rd number, and then shut down. Being an inexpensive unit, this unit does not know if it has reached a busy number, a number out of service, or even if the person at the other end who may have picked up the phone has received the message. That is the reason we repeat the message 5 times, and the reason that we only dial 3 numbers once. The unit also has the capability to be used at bedside, to be activated simply by pushing the dial button, or it can, through its contacts with a 49517 switch, be used to be activated from different points in the house. And these terminals, the normally open terminals, would also interface with various alarm systems and would be used to turn in an alarm for either fire, burglary, or personal messages, such as somebody who might be home sick and might need the help of a friend. Right now, I'd like to discuss our pulsed beam announcer alarms. This is the new 49307 now coming into your stores. And this is the old 49201, some of which will still be left in your stores. The new model has some features that the 49201 did not have. The most important thing is that the 49307 can be used as part of a perimeter system or alone. That was not the case with the 49201. It basically could be used alone. It really was an announcer and not an alarm system. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the differences. The 49307, number 1, has a pair of normally open, normally closed contacts with no voltage on them, and these contacts are used to key off a dialer or allow you to use this with a wired perimeter system. In addition to that, we have provided terminals to which a backup battery could be hooked, and we do also provide the capability of running an external sounder and disabling the internal sounder. This unit also, in the alarm position, has a 5-minute timeout feature, whereas the old model ran constantly. In the instant mode, these contacts would close, the dry contacts with no voltage would close for a very short period of time, either activating your dialer or your alarm system. We also have two types of perimeter systems, wired, like our 49450, and wireless, like our 49401. The wired is, of course, the preferred type. However, in many cases, the customer does not wish to go through the problem of wiring walls and doesn't want unsightly wires running all over the baseboards in their home. In this case, of course, you get back to the wireless perimeter system, 49401. This system is more expensive than the 49450, and the reason for that is that you are using radio transmitters to get the signal back to the main unit in place of wire. So what you save in time of wiring, which is cost, you actually end up paying for in the transmitters. Both systems are very economical. Let's talk a little bit about the 49401. It has the capability of being used with an unlimited number of transmitters. It uses a keyboard from which you do all your controlling of the system. You set the entry-exit delay times, which run from 5 to 45 seconds. You can test your system. You have the ability to arm the system either as delayed or instant. You enter, it comes factory preset with a code, and you can reset it and use your own code. It tells you if your batteries have failed and allows you to clear the alarm after putting in your personal code. It has LED indicators of different colors to indicate how the system is used and what mode it's in. This unit may be used with the 49431 dialer. As we've discussed previously, it requires an interface, which is still available in our stores, the 49510, and this device hooks to this unit with wires, plugs into the wall, and with another pair of wires hooks to your alarm system. You'll find the information on how to do that in your merchandising newsletter. Remember that the merchandising newsletter carries a lot of information on alarm systems and other products at Radio Shack. They are an important source of information that we may or may not have had time to put in the manuals, and we suggest you read them carefully and file them for future use. The 49450 alarm panel is our hottest selling item. It is considered in the industry as an absolute breakthrough and a top technology product with features at a $99.95 price that are not available in professional equipment selling for considerably more. This unit in every sense is a professional product, UL listed for home burglary use. It comes with a complete 36-page manual, which is an ideal primer on alarm systems, and it's my suggestion that you and everyone working for you read this manual, as it has a great deal of information on it on how security systems are wired and used. In fact, it would be ideal to order an extra copy from National Parts to keep in your store as a reference. I use it quite often to answer your questions when you call me. Smoke alarms cannot be hooked to the 49450 panel. It has never been listed as a smoke device, and therefore a customer wanting fire protection must buy the standalone smoke detectors. Let's talk a little bit about how you wire the panel. We'll take a look at some charts we have here. In this chart, we're showing how to wire 495 magnetic switches to the instant loop, terminals 2 and 3. In this case, since we are not using terminals 3 and 4, we would leave the jumper that comes with the product intact, in place. We would, however, have removed the jumper for terminals 2 and 3. This means, since we're using the instant circuit, that we are probably going to disarm and arm the unit from a remote point, most likely the front door, with an outside key switch. Otherwise, we would need to use terminals 3 and 4, which gives us delay, allows us to get into the house. But let's talk a little bit about wiring. Magnetic contact switches or normally closed circuit devices which hook to terminals 2 and 3 must always be hooked in series. What does this mean? Well, we've used a red and a green wire here for simplicity and for ease of you to see it on camera. However, the wire we currently sell is gray and white. So if you just think gray and white instead of red and green, we can follow through. We start out at terminal 2 with the red wire. We cut it and attach it to switch 1, come out of switch 1 to switch 2, out of switch 2 to switch 3, out of switch 3 to switch 4, and any number of contacts you had. And at the last set of contacts, we would then attach the green wire and bring that back to terminal 3. That would complete our loop, and that is how you wire multiple contacts. Now, there are more than just multiple magnetic contacts that can be used with the system. Here we've taken the same system and shown a number of products, not necessarily all of them, but a number of products that could be used with them. Magnetic switches, a glass breakage detector, window foil, the passive infrared sensor, and a vibration switch. The wiring still is normally closed, still in series, and done the same way. We would start at terminal 2, go through the magnetic switch to the second magnetic switch, into the 49516 glass breakage detector, out of it, into the window foil. This is foil in a block. Circuit goes through the foil, out of with the red wire, continues over to the 49530. And for simplicity's sake, all we're showing here are the 2 normally closed alarm contacts. So into the unit, out of the unit, over here to the vibration switch, and since this is our last terminal, the last thing on the line, we are now going to run the wire all the way back over here to terminal 3, completing our circuit. In addition to doing that, there are many other things we can do with the panel. One of the things we can do with the panel is arming and disarming. And we can do that in a number of ways. We can do that at the panel if we had a key switch here. We can also do it with a remote key switch, as you note here, which would be external if we were using our instant loop. And this is a diagram which will appear in the 49450 manuals that are coming out, showing you exactly how to wire this unit. It takes 6 wires to wire this unit up, and you can use our 6-conductor 274 series telephone wire to do this hookup. If you note here, we have taken 3 conductors and put them to a single terminal, which would say, well, I need 8 wires. Normally that would be true, but if you look in the lower diagram, which shows you how to hook up multiple switches, you will find that jumpers can be used to reduce the number of wires. So where we have 3 wires here all going to the same point, we would run a jumper and a final jumper, which would allow us to only have 1 wire. And when you get your manual, if you look in the diagram, you will see that that's what we are doing. We also have another device for arming and disarming the unit. It's the new 49535 keypad switch, which allows you to put in your own 4-digit code. And again, we have diagrams showing you how to hook up either a single or multiple units. In this case, it requires 8 wires. Since we do not have an 8-wire cable, the way to do this would be to use the 274 series 6-conductor telephone cable plus the twisted pair gray and white alarm wire in order to make these connections. One of the other things I'd like to talk about is how to use multiple 49530s in a system, since that does sometimes tend to be a point of confusion. This on top is a single unit being used with the panel, and would simply be done with 6 wires hooking up to your instant or delay circuit, your tamper circuit, and power from the panel to run the unit. Multiple units are done in parallel, with the exception of the circuit for the alarm. And let's trace that, since that's in series. We're going to start out here at terminal 4 on the alarm panel, which goes into the 49530. the second terminal, or the third terminal rather, comes out of the fourth terminal, now goes to the second unit, into the third terminal, out of the fourth terminal. Of course, we've cut the wire, okay, to the last unit. And when we come out of that last unit, we are going to return back to terminal 3 on the panel. Very much like we showed you with the other devices where we hooked all the different devices up. Again, we have put all the units, their alarm contacts, in series. The power and the tamper circuits would, of course, remain in the parallel wiring mode. My suggestion is you look at the manual. If you don't have a current manual that shows that, please don't forget your newsletter. Another new device that we've come out with is the 49529 two-sound indoor siren. This is a very high-styled siren. It looks much like a smoke detector, far more attractive to use in the home than the 49488 is. It is loud and can be hooked up to your alarm system. Your 49450 is capable of running a 49488, a 49529, and is even capable of running the strobe, the 49527. Why use a strobe? Well, normally when your alarm goes off, when someone walks outside, it is pretty hard to determine where the sound is coming from. If you were driving in a vehicle, this becomes even tougher because driving in a vehicle is much like standing on a corner and listening to a police car. As it comes towards you and goes past you, the sound changes. When you are in a car driving towards a stationary sound, you get the same effect. So in order to help the police or fire or medical team or whatever it is find your home to get you help sooner, you mount a strobe outside high where it can be seen. This is a 100,000 candle power yellow strobe which has very high visibility. As you notice, we've mounted the panel here to a piece of wood with various devices that would be used with it. This is an ideal way of displaying the system in your store. You can show the arm and disarm, you can show the operation of various types of components, and with a little double pole switch that we have here, instead of using the siren and scaring everybody half to death in your store, you can always move down to the strobe position, and when the alarm goes off, the strobe will light, and if you want to temporarily at that point, you can just show how loud the siren can be. This is an ideal way to demonstrate your system, and I suggest that you build something similar to this in your store. It's very inexpensive to do. Don't forget that Radio Shack carries a complete line of accessories for your alarm system, which are highly profitable and very, very easy to sell. Remember to take time when your customer, when they come in the store, since they are concerned and probably have just been a victim of some type of burglary or other traumatic experience, and that's why they're coming in to buy an alarm system. They expect to talk to somebody who is confident and knows their product. And remember that simplicity is the best method when designing a system, and take interest and care about what your customer's problem is. One of the best and simplest things to do and the easiest ways to help design a system for a customer is to ask the customer to simply start out by drawing a very simple floor plan on a piece of scrap paper that you may have in the store of their home or apartment. It does not have to be architectural. All you're really looking for are doors and windows, so you can either determine how many contacts are used or where you might place the motion sensing device. And that ends our session on security.